Okay, so here's the deal with this video here. I have these Chinese diesel heaters in my garage supplying heat for this winter, and most everything that you order is 10 liters. I have no idea how many gallons that is. I think it's like 2.5. I'm not real sure. I've noticed if I'm out here all day, I mean, I'm burning through this fuel pretty quick. I mean, it's not that quick. It does last quite a while, but I run all my heat on number 10, or the highest setting on my heaters, because on the heater that I have in the other side of the garage, the pipe is so long to go to the outside of the house that it was starting to get water condensation in it. And I came out here one day after running it, and it sounded like a clogged sink, just blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what in the world is that? And actually, if you look up here, these are my exits here for the diesel heaters. So the pipes, because the exhaust is so long, it you know, you've got 32 degrees outside, you got 80 degrees inside. The pipe, it goes vertically up from the heater, and I'm getting condensate in the pipe, so I had to readjust the pipe so it drained the water anyway. Long story short, the 10-liter tank, I'm tired of filling. That comes with pretty much every standard diesel heater. You might have a smaller one. This is I don't even know what this is. I think this is like a 1-liter tank. Every tank comes with an install kit. And I've seen a few videos on these, on the install kits, and I'll show you the tanks on my wall. I actually put a motorcycle petcock on, which I'm not gonna do on this next heater. We're gonna install the factory here, and then off the line I'm going to put a shutoff valve off the line itself off of this. So I have one issue with sealing that petcock up. Now this is my wall mounted tank here by the door, and the problem I'm having is on the petcock you can shut it on and off, but the problem is when you do that, it wants to move on the bottom of the tank. And I've got fuel tank sealant on there, and I noticed a few drips, and I thought that's not going to work. There is I think a nylon washer on there, and every time you turn it on and turn it off, you're actually jerking on the tank, and I think that's going to cause a leak. I actually had this whole tank leak onto this floor when I put the fuel filter on from one of these heaters, and I mean, it just flowed all the way to the garage here. And I don't recommend those little dollar fuel filters that they have on this tank. And the reason I don't recommend it is because when these diesel heaters, they just pull the fuel up. So this one's pulling it up, coming up here into the heater, and then there's no piston or rings in these diesel heaters. It's all done with just combustion and ignition. There's nothing moving that needs to be lubricated. That if you had some dirty fuel in it, to me, it'd just get burned up. And you do have to take these apart and rebuild them. And if you're new to the channel, I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to take one of these apart and show you how to rebuild it and everything, because last year, when I first started with these heaters, I actually had some diesel fuel gel up because I don't run diesel. It got below freezing, and the fuel gelled up. It clogged the entire heater. It clogged all this pipe. I had to replace all this pipe because I didn't want to clean it, and then it wouldn't run. So I'll show you how to take these things apart and rebuild them for basically a few dollars from buying the gaskets. But today we're here to talk about tapping this tank. So I'm just going to show you how to run the fuel adapter piece onto basically any tank. So let's get started here. First thing we want to do is get the kit out of here. Why is that's weird? Actually, it's not weird. There's 4 mounting screws. This tank comes with no diesel heaters. I found out you have to order it. If you want the larger tank, I think it was $30. I'll put a link in the description below. It's just, if you want a larger tank, they don't, basically all you're going to get is 10 liter or smaller with the kits. So you do have to buy this, which is fine, because you're saving money in the long run with a Chinese heater over the European ones. You can buy a Chinese heater and buy 10 of them for the price of the European ones. And I'm going to show you in future videos that the Chinese heaters, I mean, if it gets to the point that the electronics and stuff are bad in them, I'm going to tell you what to do, and this is going to sound crazy. I know a lot of people don't have a lot of money. Just buy another one. If they're $100, just buy another one, or I'll show you how to rebuild it. Just to keep it going. Actually, if you were working in these in a shop, I wouldn't just buy one. I'd go ahead and have 2. So if one screws up, you just pull it off and put another one in. So, okay, let's get this puppy tanked. So on the tank, you're going to have 2 places where that adapter for the fuel needs to go. You're going to have one on this side, and you're going to have one on the bottom side here that needs to go on these. Don't put them in the tank. The tank is actually rounded here. As you can feel, it's not flat, it's actually kind of round, which means you'll never get a flat seal on that. So they indent into the plastic this flat piece so you can get a good seal. So, and also do not get confused by this. Well, the holes are this way, which puts the spout this way. Listen, just turn the tank, stupid. Look. Well, the 15L's upside down. Well, who gives a shit, because the bottom tap is right here, stupid. Take a look at this. There's my tank there. Oh my God, it's not correct. Oh, now it's correct. Dummy. Let's say you want to go that way. You need it that way. Just turn it. All you do is turn the tank. You don't turn it this way because you need to have flush mounts on the wall. Dummy. Okay, so we got our self tappers. We won't be using that because I'm going into wood and not metal. And those are your spacers for your self tappers. If you're going into metal, you can go into wood with these if you want. But I think we're going to pull that other tank off once it gets a little farther down, and then we'll basically, I think I've got lag bolts in there. I'm not 100% sure. So this is your adapter. Zoom in here. My new camera. Love Canons. You're like, how the hell am I going to get that in the bottom of the tank? Well, I'm going to show you. Stupid. It's real easy. You basically have 2 gaskets and your ring here. So it's going to go inside the tank like this, down in there, and then you're going to pull this nozzle out of the tank. And then don't lose this nut, because this nut has grooves cut in it, so the O-ring will sit into the deal here. And I'm actually going to put the only fluid I've got that'll keep this from leaking, not fluid, I'm sorry, the silicone gasket seal. I've had real good luck with the exhaust, high temperature exhaust, oil resistant gasket seal. The fuel seal that I bought, it leaked. So it doesn't get hard. It's made to press and then, you know, create a seal on a gasket. It's not made to go from plastic to metal. So the fuel gasket sealant, in my experience, didn't work because there's no gasket material. So I have had really good success on the copper high temp oil resistant gasket sealer, and I just do it because after you have a whole tank leak, you're like, oh my god, you got to deal with all that. So okay, let's go back to the tank. Okay, so everyone that I've tapped, I've used a step drill bit, and the size of the piece here, I think, is in between basically 6 and 8. So this hole, this doesn't, I don't want this to just go through the hole. I want to actually have to pull this in and maybe even heat this up a little bit to get a nice tight seal on here. So what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to figure out what, which way you want the tank to be. So I've already figured that out because it needs to go toward the door. So that means that I need to tap this hole here. So we'll go ahead and tap it. So I'm going to raise the tank up just a little bit. And we're just going to go right in the center. And I'm going to drill into it. So that first one, now you got to do it slow because it wants to go in. That first hole was 4mm, and now on this step drill we've got 6. There's 6 there. And what you'll see is it doesn't go all the way in. So I'm actually going to go up one more to 8. So we're at 6, we're at 8. The step drill bit is labeled 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So I went to 8. Well, it slipped in like I told you I didn't want it to. Welcome to YouTube. Which will be fine because the rubber seal will be there. So you want to drill it a 7, which means I'm not going to heat it up. I'm not going to have to heat it up. I had a lady the other day, she commented on my video, she said, why do you put all those mistakes in there? You need to edit all that shit out. Really? Because in real life mistakes are made, stupid. She's also the same one that commented, oh, look at all this water being wasted on this video. Water? What are you talking about? There's plenty of water around here. Looked her up. She's from California. Then I watched California get flooded this year in 2023, and they pumped 85 million gallons of water into the ocean instead of saving the water. And all the residents are like, oh, you can't use water. Bunch of fucking idiots. Okay, let's get this thing pulled into the tank. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, Michael, how the hell am I going to get that pulled into that tank there? Well, I'm going to show you. Now, you need to get some metal wire. Most people don't have metal wire around. Go to Harbor Freight. I think that's where I bought this, stainless steel metal wire. I'll tell you, I just can't believe how many people in America are not prepared for anything. I'll tell you what else is coming this coming year people don't know. In 2024 is, get ready, food prices. I don't believe in America we're gonna have a food crisis necessarily. I think food is going to be available to an extent, but you're going to pay for it. So it's going to skyrocket. They just keep killing all these animals, and for some reason all these climate change nut jobs want to eat fucking bugs. You know, it's just crazy. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to take your steel wire and you're going to go through your hole, and we're going to go to the top of the nozzle. Real simple. We don't want to go the other way. You don't want to go from this hole to the bottom side. You'll never get it in the hole. Which that was a problem when I was in my 20s. I couldn't figure out the holes. So you might have to kind of finagle this. Now kids these days, they don't know what hole's going on. I mean, it's insane. And you got kids in China that can get into college and that are 8, 10 years old, and kids in America, hell, they don't even know if they're boys or girls. It's comical. Older people and people in other countries, they've gotta be watching this stuff just laughing. You think these other countries don't watch this stuff and just laugh? Like the president's son being a crackhead? I mean, that's comical. These other countries, if you're smoking crack and shit, they kill you. Oh, not in America. I mean, cracked out of his mind. Then he's so drugged out. He for his tax write-off, he writes off the first-class air tickets for a stripper. Or for a prostitute, not even a stripper. Now, I got nothing against prostitutes or strippers, but I mean, that is just crazy. It's absolutely, we're living in La La Land. But boy, if you want to spend, maybe we'll try a magnet. If you want to sell some goods and make an extra $600 on the side because the price of ground chuck has gone up so drastically, well, the politicians say, well, you need to be paying taxes on that $600. I mean, these people are out, these politicians, and it ain't just one party. Now that I'm talking about this, I like to call the Republicans do-nothing Republicans, because they literally do nothing. They're just part of the status quo. Okay, so done with political rants. Do-nothing Republicans and the climate change activists, I'll tell you what's going to happen in this country. They're going to get everybody killed is what's going to happen. There's people that have been to third world countries that they know what the hell's going on here. Then try to take everybody's guns, then tell you you're going to eat bugs, and then pass laws that your house isn't going to be able to run natural gas or anything, and you're going to have to go all totally electric. It is going to be, this country is just going to fall. People don't understand. They don't know. And a lot of preppers, they think they can do it themselves. You're going to have to get a group of people and people you can trust to survive this, because it is just, 100% I believe, as soon as the banks go, they're going to make these students start paying their loans back on their cars. After that happens, they're not, or on their student loans, they're going to have to pay their student loans back. They're defaulting on their cars. They're going to default on their houses that they bought that were overpriced during COVID. It's going to bankrupt the whole thing. The interest rates are so high. To collapse the commercial. Okay, so we now have our metal wire run through here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our oil piece and we're going to run the wire through the piece here. Well, we're not going to put it in backwards. That's backwards. So so what you want to do is you want to have the nozzle piece running toward the tank here. So we're going to run it, and we're going to put it into the tank. We're going to pull this as tight as we can and tip the tank up, and then it should work its way down to the wire. See that? See how it worked down? And now we can see a little nub in there, and we're going to pull it out of the tank like so. And now, before you pull this wire out, go ahead and take your O-ring. We're going to go ahead and put it on the unit. See, as soon as you move the wire, it's wanting to see it backed into the tank. So we're going to go ahead and put our O-ring on the wire. We're going to go ahead and put our nut on the wire. So don't pull this wire out. Then we're going to have to... Oh crap, I almost pulled the wire out. There we go. Oh crap. Oh, this is a disaster. It's like I dropped the nut there. And then we're going to take our nut try to get it started on the thread. Oh no. Gloves are in the way. There we go. You just want to get it started so it don't back into the tank. Then we can pull the wire out. Hey, look at that. Okay, now that we have our nut onto our piece here, I'm actually going to throw some gasket silicone on that. Stuff's about $9 a tube. Well, it used to be $9 a tube. I don't know if he's left in this. Here's the deal. A lot of people don't want to do this. I'm telling you, you do not want your tank to leak. I had that one leak and it stunk so bad that I couldn't get the smell out of the garage besides power washing the entire floor. Now if you have one of these in a garage that you use all the time, you do not want this thing to leak. I highly suggest doing what I'm doing with this. This stuff works. I've used it. I know it works. A lot of people say, well, this isn't gas. This is diesel fuel. Diesel fuel isn't as corrosive as gas. And we're just going to apply it. To where the nut is. Oh my God, you made a mess. Well, no shit, stupid. We'll clean it up when we press it on. It's not like if this shit's crazy glue. I mean, I glued my fingers together the other day with crazy glue. I mean, that shit, I understand why they call it crazy glue. Because the shit, it won't glue to the wood. Crazy glue won't glue to the wood, the metal and all that. It takes time and it runs everywhere. But you get glue on your fingers and touch them together, the son of a bitches. Oh, it bonds instantly. I mean, the government wants to waste a bunch of money. Maybe the government needs to take a look at, people gluing their fingers together. Keep spending all my money. Okay, so what you want to do, I've already got that shit on my fingers, so I'm just going to run it up. You're going to want to hold the nozzle here about as tight as you can get it and straight, and go ahead and just turn the nut until you get resistance. You'll feel it hit the tank. Like so. And then we're gonna torque on it just a little bit. You don't need a whole lot of pressure on this. It's just plastic. I'm gonna hold the nozzle and I'm gonna tighten this down. And it's a little bit at an angle. We're gonna try to get it straight. May not be straight. Hell, women are having a big pandemic right now because they're all divorcing their husbands. Well, he's not being like a man. He's too submissive. He's just not confident enough for me. Well, no shit, stupid. For the last 20 years, they've been telling people that they need to be tolerant to all this bullshit. So you got a weak ass man. That does everything you say. Oh, God, you gonna do okay? I'm gonna do this. Well, yeah, because you got a punk bitch ass man that really don't know what the hell's going on. All of a sudden, you divorce his ass. You have his kid and then divorce him, and then want a bunch of money so you can go off and because you got married in your 20s, and now all of a sudden you missed out on your hoe time. of going around having multiple sex partners and divorce his ass in his 30s, completely destroy him, and then now you're out being a hoe in your 30s and 40s, and I just can't find a good man. Well, your looks are going to go at about 40, trust me. All of a sudden, you can't find a real man because now your body count's so fucking high. People like me don't want nothing to do with you. Okay, and I'm going to go around this with a little bit more sealant, just to make sure. Let me tell you something, guys. Men ain't being men. This country's got a big problem with men not being men. They're being run by women. Women don't like that shit. Women want a big... Okay, so the tank is tapped, it's resealed, we're good to go. Let that set 24 hours. And if this video helped you, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, thumbs down. Really, I don't care what you hit, just hit something. And if you want to see the Chinese diesel heater setup where this tank is going to be next, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified. Anything I used, if I got affiliate links from Amazon because I got another YouTube channel, I'll put them in the links below. Other than that, I'm out of here.